It's League on Lock, and I'm Eric, and it's the first installment of our summer power rankings. We've gone through the Western scene, gone NA, gone EU, and now it's time for the LCK, the top tier of competition in competitive League of Legends. And there's a lot more games. There's games Monday to Sunday now, or Tuesday to Sunday for the LCK this split, and Wednesdays have 3 best of 3. So there's a lot of LCK action going forward, and a couple of teams already played 3 sets, and coming in at the top of the standings is a team that played 3 sets. It's Gen G, formerly KSV, formerly Samsung Galaxy. They looked completely dominant. A bit of a revamped lineup with Haru in the lineup. He already got 3 Player of the Games awards. He has been dominant in that lane, in that jungle. I don't know if you're seeing much ambition anymore, and surprisingly enough, not much Crown, even though all their hype-up videos are about him. It's been Fly starting in that mid lane, and he has been fantastic for them. Across the board, this looks like a totally different team than the likes of KSV that we saw in 2018 spring. They took down Kingzone in 3 games. The 2 games they won were super dominant. They looked like a force to be reckoned with. They clobbered SKT, and they took down MVP as well. They look like the clear-cut best team in Korea right now. It's only 1 week, but they did already play 3 sets. Coming in at number 2, Afreeca only had 2 best ofs to kick off week 1, but they looked very dominant in those games. They also 2-0'd SKT. Well, we got a theme going on here. We'll dive into SKT a little bit later. They're way down on the power rankings, as you saw there. But Afreeca comes in at number 2. Tucson on his engaged champions is an absolute animal. The Rakan is basically a must ban against him, and we saw Aiming play 3 games as well as Kramer. Both guys have looked pretty comfortable in this meta. The LCK, way more than any of the other regions. You've seen these AD carries look more comfortable on these unfamiliar champions like the Vladimirs, the Rises, the Swains in that bottom lane. They definitely look more comfortable than their Western counterpart AD carries. We do need to come up with a new term for AD carries. Just bot lane carries, BLCs. That sounds more like a sandwich than anything. So we'll have to think of a cooler name for these guys. But Afreeca has looked really solid so far, and people like to sleep on them, us included. We kind of sleep on them from time to time, but right now they're looking solid. And we still got another undefeated team, Griffin, at 3-0. The reason they're below Afreeca is they haven't really played anyone good yet. They got their wins against BBQ, Hanwha Life, who actually probably should have won that set, but they took them down. They haven't faced any of the top tier teams, none of the top 4. Nonetheless, still impressive to win 3 straight best ofs in your first 3 ever games on the LCK stage. So kudos to Griffin. They have a fantastic start to 2018 summer. They're coming in at number 3. KT and Kingzone both at 1-1, coming in at 4 and 5. KT looked pretty good. Kingzone had some moments where they did not look good at all against Gen G. I'm not sure they have a full grasp on the meta yet. Seems like they're still figuring out some things, what exactly to be running. They had the Braum mid lane matchups, as everyone is just clamoring to see anytime you get the support mid matchups with junglers trying to get fed. The LCK seems to be doing that more than other regions, although you did see it quite a bit in Europe. NA, not quite adapted it yet. Then we had Hanwha Life Esports coming in at 2-1. They're 6 on our power rankings. Again, much like Griffin, they haven't played any of the top tier teams yet. They got wins against Jin Air and BBQ. So BBQ looks really bad, which is why we have them in at number 10. So you can't really weigh a win against them too highly, because they do appear to be struggling quite mightily to open up the 2018 summer split. And Hanwha, with their new sponsors, even after they lost to Griffin, they said their owners took them out for a $1,600 dinner despite losing. So it must be nice to have a big insurance company backing you guys, and you got to think the environment in that team is pretty good even when you're losing. Keep your heads up high, and 2-1, a solid start for them to push for a playoff spot. A lot of people think they will be vying for that 5th and final spot. And at number 7, you got MVP, went 1-2 again. Their only win against BBQ, and it was the opening match of 2018 summer where Yondu's Master Yi went absolutely insane. Jin Air, one of 3 teams without a win yet, but they looked the most competitive in their series losses and actually were taking off some games from opposing teams, whereas the likes of SKT, 0-4, they were maybe in 1 game against Afrika. That's about it. They looked bad. They looked lost in this meta. Faker's playing Taric mid and trying to get Blossom ahead on the Master Yi. A champion that Faker used to play mid lane as kind of a niche pick where he looked absolutely incredible on it. Blossom clearly not comfortable on that pick. So you're basically stuck with Blank either just being invisible and doing nothing the whole game, or Blossom kind of running in and inting in some of these games. SKT, they're going to have to turn things around quick if they want any chance of not only making playoffs, but making Worlds. I'm hitting the panic button a lot earlier in summer than I did in spring, and we already talked about BBQ 0-3 at 10, but who's the MVP from week 1 in the LCK? It's got to be CoreJJ and Ruler in that bottom lane, specifically Ruler, but you got to give a shout out to his support, setting him up for success in that bottom lane. Look at these numbers, absolutely incredible to start. Obviously, they went 3-3 or 3-0, and the most impressive thing is they are not abiding by this abysmal meta in 8.11. They're playing typical AD carries, typical marksman, the Ezreal, the Xayah. He was playing Kog'Maw, even had the Ashe, so really fantastic that Ruler is still, I mean, Uzi has been doing it in the LPL as well through RNG's first 2 best ofs. They're still just playing normal AD carries. If they get through pick ban, they're still viable. And in 5 of these 7 games that Gen G did play, he was deathless. 5 of the 7 games he didn't die, which is absolutely incredible when you're playing against all these ridiculous dive comps, bruisers that are just flashing on you, and massive tanks like Mundo. So Ruler and CoreJJ really proving why they are deserving of the spot on that South Korean Asia Games roster. They look like the best bot lane so far in the LCK, and Gen G, I mean, really with this new roster with Haru and Fly, they look like a force to be reckoned with, and CoreJJ and Fly, former NALCS stars. Not stars. Scrubs in the NA scene. Now they're some of the best players in the LCK. That's a little too early to say for Fly because he's only played 3 best ofs, but he's still looking much better in the LCK than NA. Helps when your team is a whole lot better. That's all the time we have for our first installment of the Summer Split Power Rankings. My name's Eric. Thank you guys for watching.